do need to say at the beginning I don't consent to being recorded.
Okay.
Okay? Just want to make that clear.
Okay.
So, like I said, I wanted to update you on the progress I was making in terms of seeking an independent third-party file review. And I'm not making a lot of progress in finding someone that meets your criteria.
Okay.
So most retired directors of service are not registered social workers because they're not engaged in direct practice anymore.
Okay.
And I do want to be transparent with you as well in letting you know that I'm being open with people about the possibility of being recorded or videotaped, or the possibility that a file review report could be posted publicly, and that is a barrier to some of reviewers engaging in this process as well.
Okay. I understand. One question I did have, and it'll make maybe make this process easier. Will there still be a community professional on the internal complaint review panel?
There could be, yes. So I would like to talk to you today about any other kind of alternative process that might bring us to resolution or meet both of our needs. So we could go right to an internal complaint review panel. As I said, the external person is usually an executive director of another social service agency.
Okay.
I had been considering someone from the child welfare field, so that it would be someone who had a more intimate understanding, a complete understanding of our standards and procedures.
Yeah.
But I haven't been successful in that, and that still may not be the right approach, because it should be somebody who, the external person is supposed to be outside of the organization.
Okay.
Now, I will qualify that the external person isn't a decision maker. They're to provide outside eyes and input.
Yeah.
But the internal complaint review panel is a internal process. So you will get an outcome or a response from the organization, from FCSLLG.
Okay.
So what made you ask about that process? What are your thoughts?
About like what made me seek the internal complaint process? Well, I guess I'm sort of following you on this one. It's the first time I've ever made a complaint about a CAS, so not really sure, you know, what outcomes can happen. I know I'm just very unsatisfied with my service, and you know, however I'm allowed to complain, or what I'm allowed to complain about, I'm just sort of trusting you to direct me to the right way of handling it.
Okay, so since you're still very unsatisfied, what is it that is going to satisfy you at the end of the day? If we can sort of go to that end point, what are you hoping for?
Well, accountability is a big one,
And what's that mean? What do you mean when you say that?
I want to
show what would demonstrate accountability.
You know, someone to say, you know, where did the agency make mistakes, and then, you know, where did maybe workers make mistakes?
Okay. Do you feel you got any of that from me in our interview?
Honestly, I didn't. I felt just as ignored as I felt since the beginning, when this all started last year. Which is sort of something that's really sticking out to me, is that attitude that everything I say is a lie or not true or uninformed. I mean, right from the get-go, that was sort of the attitude from your agency, from workers. And then I've talked to two of your managers now, and have gotten the same attitude, and then from you too. I mean, you know, when I frequently, when I met with you, I brought up how, you know, I tried to work cooperatively, or I tried to do that, and you disagree with me, basically, and you tell me you saw no evidence of that, and all the while I'm sitting there thinking, well, isn't me telling you that that's what happened evidence enough? I mean, I really just, I guess, I just want to be heard. And I don't feel like anyone from your agency has listened.
I'm really, really sorry you feel that way. I guess I feel like I listened to you in that 2-hour interview. I certainly disagreed with some of the things you said. I can think of some things we agreed on.
Yeah, but not entirely. You know, you don't complain.
I guess it wasn't enough for you.
And well, I mean, even with that statement, you just disagreed with me saying I didn't feel listened to. It just sort of, I just would like an outside person to, I guess, see this happening, be aware that things happen like this. And ultimately, if why I would prefer a registered professional is it gives me that personal accountability. And maybe the file reviewer won't be a registered person, but maybe someone on the internal review complaint panel would be a registered individual. I mean, even if it's someone within your agency, as long as they had that regulating body where I would be able to trust that they would be ethical.
Okay. So let's talk about, so you'll trust somebody who's registered with a professional body.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, and like I realize, obviously, you know, a doctor's probably not going to know a whole lot about child protection standards. So when I say registered, that's going to be a registered social worker.
Okay, that's where what I wanted to understand next.
Okay.
So what kind of person would that be? So really, it is an RSW that you want to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe that would be the compromise here, is to have someone on the internal complaint, whether they're independent or not, even if it's from within the agency, as long as there's someone on that panel that is registered with the college.
So that's one option then. Go ahead with the panel with an RSW if I can find someone willing to participate.
Okay.
Can you think of any other options? Any other alternative approaches? You mentioned in your letter mediation or alternative dispute resolution. Would some kind of mediation process interest you?
Well, it's not really. I mean, I'm not involved with you guys anymore. I'm not sure. I think when I was writing about ADR, I was upset that it wasn't offered to me, before you guys had brought me to court last year. Doesn't really apply here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you because there isn't really, our involvement's ended, so in a way you've already achieved what you had wanted. In terms of having CAF involved in life and your family's life.
Yeah.
What about any other kind of governing body to complete a review of our work? For example, if I could find a ministry person, like the people who oversee us, would you have any trust in that?
I would be open to that. Would that be instead of the internal panel or like alongside with?
I'm not sure. It could be both. I'm thinking out loud here.
Okay.
You know, I'm brainstorming with you, trying to think of how we can have a process that is going to help you feel heard and get you an outcome that you trust.
Okay.
I guess another option that you would have is going right to CFSRB.
Yeah, no, it's kind of been on the back burner of my mind, but I thought I would do the internal processes first and see if I can get any kind of headway that way first.
So if you were to receive, what would being accountable look like to you? So if I could provide you a response or a letter that would satisfy you right now, what would need to be in that?
Something to the effect of, the agency, for example, the understaffing. The agency admits we were understaffed during this period. We apologize for how it hurt your family. I guess an apology or just something that doesn't condone what happened to me.
Okay. So that's one issue. Can I clarify?
Sure.
My perception of the understaffing was the impact of you having multiple workers.
Yeah, well, and all the things that got lost in staffing gaps, as the manager explained.
Yeah, the transition from worker to worker, yes. And that's something you and I thought we agreed on that in our meeting. We agreed on three things. That the worker changes were a problem and something that we absolutely should have done better.
Okay.
Just a minute, let me get my notes. Because up until I left that interview and you were going to get back to me about what you wanted to see in a letter, but then you requested an ICRP.
But I mean, the other things like the whole deal with the affidavit, the fact that she lied in her affidavit, which I still think is a criminal offense, and then I mean, you guys backed it. I mean, you both said you saw the video, and
yes,
it doesn't.
Yeah, I think that's something that you and I are going to disagree on. So if that's sort of a bottom line thing for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, having that kind of attitude towards affidavits, I mean, I mean, God knows how many children have been affected by affidavits that aren't true or based on fact, and that's the most important part of an affidavit, is it's based on fact. And if you don't remember,
I agree, an affidavit is based on fact.
And so, I mean, if you're using affidavits against parents to get, motions passed against them, and that information, if you don't know that information is 100% truthful, you should not be swearing it in. And I really think it's scary that workers have that kind of attitude about affidavits.
And I do not believe or see evidence here that our worker or our workers lie in affidavits.
Well, I mean, I offered to show you ample
fundamental disagreement that we have.
But I mean, I can show you I can show you the video that happened, and then what she said. I mean, I can show you all of this stuff.
And this is what we talked about in our interview. I mean, I did review the video and the affidavit, as did the manager involved, and we don't agree with your interpretation.
Okay, but that's where I would like an internal complaint review panel to chime in there. And would also be something, I think that would contribute to me feeling heard, is for someone to sit down and watch the videos. I can put them on a stick. I've got lots of other videos I've tried to show you guys that, can confirm what I'm saying. I mean, I haven't...
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, I have not lied about a single thing. And, I mean, even in this conversation, you're saying you don't see evidence, or it's...
I guess, I mean, and this is what occurs with human beings and in a court of law. I don't believe you are lying. I don't believe I am lying. But I think we view and interpret the facts that we've experienced and seen in a different way. And that's part of I've got a weird echo here. What's going on?
I don't know.
That's part of a conflict resolution process, or part of an accountability process.
Okay.
And part of an assessment process that an agency like ours would engage in.
Okay, I'm sorry, what is?
is looking at the facts from each party's point of view.
Okay.
And recognizing that people may have a different point of view about the same situation, the same experiences, or what you might state are the same facts.
Well, I mean, to an extent, maybe that's true, but I mean, there aren't versions of the truth. And, you know, I'd like, you know, someone either independent or registered and with ethical obligations to say that.
And how is it going to be for you if this person doesn't agree with all of your points?
Well, you know, that's fine.
Okay, just give me some time to digest and process, Kelley.
Sure.
Can you think of any person, any reviewer type person, any outside person that you would trust?
Like,
Somebody you know. I'm looking for like a specific.
to be to review the file?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not off the top of my head. I could probably find someone, though.
Well, if you think you'd have someone that you could propose that, you know, you think would be acceptable to our organization, I'd be happy to consider that.
Okay. Is that, something you pay someone for?
It usually is, so I don't know if you've turned your mind to that and whether that has an impact on your ability to trust the outcome.
Well, if I'm picking them, then, if I can find someone, that's really interesting. Maybe I can get back to you on that one?
Please, yeah, and we can do that by email.
Okay.
I mean, again, I would have to have some confidence in the person's abilities and knowledge of the standards and procedures, or, you know, the child welfare.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Obviously, it would need to be someone who was aware of, you know, the standards, because that's what the complaint's basically about, right? Wow, that's a really interesting idea. I can think of a million people, but whether or not they're available to do this is a whole other thing, but I can definitely get back to you on that one.
Okay, great. And if I can't find an RSW, is there any other type of person you would trust? I mean, I guess you talked to the ministry. You'd consider that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, you know, whoever's available will have to do, you know what I mean? I mean, I can say I want a registered person, this, that, but I mean, ultimately, if that doesn't exist, then we can't do that. Then, you know, maybe just having someone internally that's registered just to be on the panel. And
okay, now the other possibility I considered is some of the I may be able to find an unregistered reviewer.
okay.
Or perhaps a couple of them, so that you get more than one objective opinion contributing
Okay.
to the assessment of the case.
Okay. No, I think maybe that's the way to go.
Okay, so that's another possibility. Okay, so I think we've talked about 3 or 4 possibilities. Let me see if I can. So we could do the panel with an RSW on it.
Yeah.
You would accept somebody from the ministry
Yeah.
reviewing the case. And you would accept an external reviewer without an RSW if that was the only possibility.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of. Would you prefer more than one? Does that make sense to you, or more sense to you, or?
I mean, yeah, I would prefer, but like I said, you can only do what you can do, right?
Okay, and then the 4th thing is you are going to suggest people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think that's a good list of options.
All right. I'll follow that up with an email so that we both have that in black and white.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Thank you for the phone call. I recognize this whole process is taking a long time.
Yeah.
So at any point, I mean, I am purposely taking a long time because I want to do this well, and I don't want to just go through the motions. I want to have an outcome or a resolution.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it.
At the end of the day. But if at any time you are free to say, I just want to go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I understand.
So totally, going to the internal complaint review panel is your right, and you should not feel that I am holding you back from proceeding with that or a CFSRB. So at any time in this process, if you want to go right to that, all you have to do is say so.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. That's
Okay, it's unusual that we take this long. Again, I'm trying to do something a little bit different and creative here, but I also don't want you to feel like you are heard or are being pressured into taking this approach.
No, and I really do appreciate that you're taking the time to do that.
Okay. I guess part of the reason I feel comfortable doing that is the fact that your case is closed.
Yeah.
And there isn't really any, I don't believe there's any impact on your children or your family.
No.
At this point.
Not at this point. I am just trying really hard for this not to happen again. But I'm learning lots of ways to do things differently if it ever happens again.
Can I ask what that would be?
I guess talking to the manager earlier on. You know, there's a lot of information I wanted to give you guys before, and so I think you know, just going to the office, to the agency and dropping it off might be a way to do things differently next time, instead of waiting for a worker to take it. You know, and I guess just really talking and speaking up for myself more. And you know, one thing I had thought was, because, you know, nearly 2 months had gone by, you know, before you brought me to court, that there wasn't a visit. To me, I thought, okay, well, they're obviously not that concerned. I felt completely blindsided when I was brought to court, served the papers. So I guess that's definitely something I'll do differently, is if I don't hear that the file is closed, I will not be thinking, oh, they must not be that concerned. I don't think I'll ever think that again.
Those are really good lessons learned. Yeah, you're right. And that, you know, on our list, like we talked about in the interview, is don't bring police.
Yeah.
Unless it's absolutely necessary. That the changes in workers were problems, were gaps in service and communication.
Yeah.
The written reasons was something that took you a long time to receive.
Yeah.
So having sort of clear reasons, or even just clear expectations from us.
Yeah.
Here's what we need from you.
Yeah.
If we have this, and this, or we are able to do this, and this, then we can complete this investigation and most likely close the case.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, doing it that way is also like a really great way to build trust, when you have those clear expectations.
Okay. Anything else before I let you go?
Well, that's it.
Do we get what we deserve?